What was the most painfully embarrassing moment to have ever occurred to you in the army? I got kicked in my groin during combatives for morning physical training. Initially, I didn't pay much attention to it and continued sparring, followed by a 2-mile run around the track. When I returned to the bay and sat down in a chair, I realized I couldn't get comfortable. It took me a moment to realize that I was actually sitting on my freshly injured family jewels. As time passed during the brief chow period, my pain intensified, and my jewels started to swell and throb. Feeling the increasing discomfort, I left the chow hall early and attempted to run back to the bay on the 4th floor. I could only manage a slow jog due to the unbearable pain. One of the drills from another platoon saw me and reprimanded me for not sprinting. Despite my efforts to continue, I struggled to make it to the back stairwell. The pain was so intense that I had to crawl up the stairs using my arms. I didn't even reach the 2nd floor before my platoon mates returned from chow. A few of them helped lift me to the 4th floor, but then I started vomiting. They left me in the stairwell and went to get the senior drill sergeant, SDS. The SDS arrived and found me vomiting in the stairwell. He was a tall, strong, Southern guy who kicked me and asked if I was drunk. At this point, the only thing that relieved my 15 out of 10 pain level was having my hands shoved down my pants, massaging my manhood and moaning. I believe he misunderstood and thought I was entertaining myself. So he kicked me again and told me to stop. All I could manage to moan was, "My jewels. Drill sergeant, my jewels." He looked at me like I was some weirdo, but I couldn't stop moaning and massaging my groin. SDS was pissed and started to ask who knows what the hell is wrong with me. The guy that missed his kick and hit my golf balls finally runs up the stairs from chow. He goes, "Oh, shoot. I kicked him right in his 3rd leg earlier. But he seemed okay. He finished his run and went to chow and stuff, so I thought he was okay." In my incoherent state, I continued to rub my groin, and the SDS had some guys drag me to a Chevy S10 truck. They threw me into the bed of the truck and he quickly drove across Fort Benning, causing me to be thrown around in the back. At one point, I vomited out of the side window of the truck. We eventually arrived at the troop medical clinic where the SDS informed the intake nurse about the situation, and hurriedly left. The intake nurse was a fat civilian lady who seemed disinterested, filing her nails, and watching daytime TV. She checked me in and I had to wait in line among sick call rangers who were coughing and wheezing. Despite my ongoing discomfort, I continued to rub my groin and moan. The other recruits gave me strange looks, and the intake nurse yelled at me, "That ain't gonna get you sent no sooner. Wait your turn, soldier." Shortly after, I vomited again and collapsed. This caused those with normal 3rd legs to scatter and insist that I jump to the front of the line. A major, who was a physician assistant, PA, came over and took me to his exam room. I explained what happened, and he recognized the symptoms. He cut open the front of my pants with trauma shears and diagnosed me with testicular torsion. Recognizing the urgency, he immediately called 911. He warned me about the risk of losing my family jewels due to the delay since the injury occurred hours ago. Paramedics arrived, assessed the situation, and agreed with the PA's diagnosis. One of the medics even exclaimed, "Holy shoot dude, you might lose your manhood." They placed me on a gurney, with my genitals exposed for all to see. They transported me to Martin Army Hospital where I was sent directly to the emergency room. There, a urologist and surgeon promptly examined me. The urologist, a kind young major, explained the situation and the surgical procedure required to restore blood flow. He then administered morphine for the pain. A soldier from my platoon arrived as my battle buddy since my SDS had informed the first sergeant about the incident, causing some concern within the chain of command. My battle buddy took charge of my belongings and sat with me. The urologist returned, provided me with more morphine, and gave me a cell phone to call my parents and update them on the situation. They told me they'd be back in a bit to wheel me over to surgery. The morphine hit me like a freight train. I was tripping balls hardcore. I hallucinated that my battle buddy was a terrorist trying to kill me in the desert. I tried to get out of bed and attack him. Then I called my mom. At this point in 1 station unit training, OSUT, I hadn't been home in weeks. I think I talked to her for maybe 3 or 4 minutes total since being at training. So imagine her when she randomly got a call saying, "Hi mom, it's me. I got hurt really bad down here and I'm going to die." Then I hung up the phone and passed out. Remember this part for later. The surgery went well, with the doctors successfully saving my reproductive organs. When I woke up in the recovery room, my battle buddy had left, and a group of nurses and the urologist entered. They reassured me that everything was okay but instructed me to rest in bed for a week. My scrotum was stitched and stapled shut, and I was warned that any deep bending or stretching could potentially reopen the incision. They demonstrated how to clean and dress the wound before contacting my company. After a brief dose, my SDS burst into the room. "Hey, how you doing? Let's go. Get your stuff." Drill sergeant, I don't have anything." My battle buddy had my clothes and stuff and I think he went back to the company. Aw, Jesus Christ. Alright, let's go. Cue amazing montage of my SDS pushing me through and out of Martin Army Hospital with me just in my hospital gown. My butt was just hanging out as we passed field grade officers and senior NCOs who gave us looks of disgust. We got to his truck and I went to get into the bed and he goes, no, you can sit up front with me. Come on." We drove across the post and he went over some railroad tracks, trying to take it easy. He noticed me grimacing as we hit bumps and said, "I know how that feels. I took grenade shrapnel to my balls in Afghanistan in '03. I had to have an emergency vasectomy type procedure and then immediately go back on patrol." Upon returning to the company training area, the first sausage rushed out of the office. "Get the hell in there, pick up my phone, and call your goddamned mother. Take however long you need to assure that woman that you are not dead. Tell her that you are fine and to stop calling the office." I called my mom who had called Fort Benning as soon as I hung up on her, asking why her son was dead, and so on. Of course, everyone was confused as hell and everything spiraled downhill from there. The aftermath was even better. I was on bed rest for a week, which was weird as hell. Everyone got up for physical training. I rolled back over. They came back, changed, went to training, and I rolled back over. Afterwards, I was on light duty with the rest of the Brookslong Brigade. At one point, the drill sergeant in charge of us was handing out chores. I had a hardcore waddle at this point since the wider my legs, the less pressure on my family jewels. He just looked at me and said, "What the hell is wrong with you?" I told him my story and I thought he was going to tear up. It was really emotional for him. He had me sit in the company office and answer the phones. I waddled to Chow once and a drill sergeant from another company was knife-handing people not running to and from Chow. He cornered me then chewed my butt for not being motivated. One of my company's drills ran over and whispered in his ear. He came over and apologized. Then he gave me a weird look, looked down at my crotch, apologized again and walked off. After 3 weeks, the stitches came out and I was good to go. I entertained myself furiously as often as possible to make sure everything was still firing properly. I have a giant scar from the base of my donger down my golf balls to my taint. I was worried about being recycled but I think the company staff felt so bad for me. I made up training on weekends with other companies in the battalion and still finished on time.